Good morning, everyone. This video, we will discuss our week 8 lecture on the steady-state simulation of distributed models. So, last week we have derived distributed models, in particular the mass balance, the energy balance, and the momentum balance, and also discuss briefly on the boundary condition. Steady-state distributed models, if we have a distributed model that does not have variations with time, then we will have a set of differential equations. If our system involves only one space dimension, then we will have a set of ordinary differential equations. If our systems has two or more space dimensions, then we will have a set of partial differential equations. These differential equations describe static relations between a set of variables and how these variables change in space. To be able to solve these differential equations, then we need to know boundary conditions or the values of the dependent variables in the certain positions. So normally the properties are known on the border of the space, and like the dynamic simulations of the model, the inlet conditions are often known. A steady-state distributed system simulation is normally called a boundary value problem. A steady-state distributed system in one space dimension can be expressed in general form like this. So this is dx per dz is equal f as a function of z and x. X in here is refers to the dependent variables, and z in here refers to the independent variable, which in this case is a space variables, where the space in here is defined between A to B. The corresponding boundary conditions called BCs, boundary conditions, are this. So this is a general form of the boundary conditions, like Dirichlet boundary conditions, where the value of the function is known at the boundary, or the von Neumann BC, where the derivative of a function is known at the boundary, and then also the Robin BC. There is a linear relation between the value and the derivative at the boundary is known. It can be expressed in terms of these general boundary conditions, where A, B, and C in here are matrices if the BCs are linear. To be able to solve the steady-state distributed model, then the number of the boundary conditions should be the same with the number of the derivative in the ODE. So in order for you to solve a second order differential equations, then you need to have two boundary conditions. In order for you to solve a first order differential equations, then you need to only have one boundary conditions. There is a special case called a split boundary value problem, where the boundary conditions are described in separate equation, where XA and XB do not occur in the same equations. For a tube, depending on what the problem is, if the property in the inlet is known, then that will be an inlet conditions. And in case you have a second order differential equations, then you need two boundary conditions. So one will be in the inlet and another one is on the outlet. There are two methods to solve steady-state distributed models. The first one is using the shooting method, which is limited to the ordinary differential equations, and the second one that we will discuss in our lecture is the finite difference method, which has a wider use. It can be used for ordinary differential equations and for partial differential equations. The shooting method. Let's go and inspect firstly the initial value problem. The special cases of boundary value problems occur when the boundary condition is defined at the first boundary. This means that it can be solved by integration of the ordinary differential equation in space using the boundary condition as the initial value. So in our example, let's inspect into the isothermal tubular reactor example. So let's say in an ideal isothermal tubular reactor, a first order reactions in the form of A to B occurs. Okay, the velocity profile is assumed to be plug flow, so Vz is constant. Material balance result in the following differential equations. So we have these differential equations. So essentially our differential equations should be, if I just move this dz into the right hand side, then we have this dA per dz is equal minus k divided by Vz dA. And in here, we know the concentrations in the inlet, so that the concentrations of A in the inlet at Z equals 0 is equal to C naught. And then we know that for this case, V is 1 and K is 10. The inlet condition is 1 and the reactor length is 0.35. So we can solve this one using the same method that we use to solve the dynamic lump model, basically. Except in this scenario, instead of time, then the space variables become the independent variables. So we make a MATLAB file TubeX which defines the unsteady state tank model, and then this equations in here is basically defining these differential equations in here. Okay, and then once we save this function file, then we go into the common window of the MATLAB, and then we can put this we can type this common ODA23 TubeX. This one is refers to the function, and then this 0, 0 to 0, 0.35 refers to the Z span. And then this one in here refers to the initial concentrations at the inlet. I can show it in my camera here. Okay, so so this is the differential equations. Okay, then this the differential equation will be solved from 0 to 0.35, and then we will use 1 as the initial concentrations at the inlet. Then if we run that thing, we should get this graph of the concentration versus the reactor length. So the concentrations of A decreasing from the inlet to the outlet, like this. Then we will discuss next the shooting method. The shooting method in here is defined is more general than just the initial value problem. So initial value problem is a special case of the boundary value problem. So in the general case, there is a mixture of the boundary conditions at the beginning and at the end of the interval. The idea of the shooting is simple and straightforward. So you guess the boundary condition at the first border, and then you solve the ordinary differential equations from A to B, and then you check the result at B, and then you compare it with the boundary conditions. If they are not the same, then you need to go back to the first step. So then this issue, the main issue becomes how to make a good guess in step 1. Then step 1 until 3 can be viewed as a nonlinear problem where a guess result in residual. The general shooting method becomes in practice becomes a nonlinear equation problem from this point of view. So the residual can be calculated using an ODE solver that integrates the ODE between A and B. So in this case, we can make these functions. Let's say we are solving the same problem, but except the difference is this time the boundary condition is defined at the outlet. So we don't have the value of the dependent variables in the inlet. Instead, this one is on the outlet. And then the concentrations at the outlet is 0.05. So we need a function that calculates the residual between the assumed outlet concentration and the calculated one, which is listed below. So this function is called findchecks2.m. This has an input of C naught, and then this one is residual. Residual in here is basically calculating the the difference between 0.05 with the final value that you get after solving the ODE 23 in here. So what we get will be something like this, and then the final, after we define these functions in here, then we use f0 to get the value of the value of the c that makes this funcheck 0 becomes 0, and then our initial guess will be 1. I can show you how this code is working in my notes using this camera in here. Let me try to adjust the focus first. Sorry for the delay. So these things in here is defined in terms of the concentrations of the outlet is 0.05 basically. Okay, and then this funchecks in here is basically it's basically calculating the difference between what you get from the ODE 23 in here. The last one, you get the final component from the result of the ODE, and then that will be subtracted with that will subtract the CL in here. Okay, then this C naught in here, this one is the initial guess of C naught. C at Z equals 0. Then you get 1.66664. If I want to show you what's going on in the common window, if you run these things in the MATLAB, this is what you will get essentially in the. So this will be the initial value of your Z and C. Then this will be the last value of your Z and C. As you can see in here, the C at the beginning of your reactor should be 1.66664. In order for you to get the concentrations of 0.05 at the end of the tube. So you can get this matrix by running the code in the MATLAB, and then you can use a particular command in MATLAB to extract the value of this Z and C, and so this one. As you can see in here, you start with the value of 1. And then this one is your initial value in the first iterations of the CN, 0.003, which is not the same with 0.05. So iterations will be done until this 0.03 becomes 0.05. Okay. With this, then I stop my my video for this for this part of the shooting method. Thank you for listening.